Chapter 11 The Battle of Life and Death begins. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next day, the sky was cloudless, Jingchuan City. There was a sea of people at the gate of the city lord's mansion, and even the city lord of Jingchuan was helpless. Jingchuan City is a small city under the rule of the Wuhuang dynasty in the 9 states. In this vast Wuhuang state, it is just an insignificant existence. The city lord's mansion mostly manages matters between civilians, involving some big families, and often turns a blind eye. Outside the city lord's palace, there is a huge arena, which is a place for the people of Jingchuan City to compete. There is an endless stream of people on weekdays, but it has never been so popular as today. Long Xiaotian, a generational genius from the Long family, the largest family in Jingchuan, fights to the death with Xiao Fan, the waste of the Xiao family and the brother of the genius Xiaotian. The venue that could have been filled with tens of thousands of people was obviously not enough at this time. The number of people who came to watch this time was no less than the number of people attracted by the messenger of Misty Immortal Palace in the past few days. There was a lot of buzz, and the endless stream of spectators started talking. This Xiao Fan is the son-in-law of the Long family. He dares to challenge Long Xiaotian. Is he afraid that he doesn't want to live anymore? I feel Xiao Fan will be beaten to death. As the main leader, Long Xiaotian arrived at the arena early in the morning and was ready. Although Xiao Fan is also at the Long family, the two parties will naturally not come together. Before noon arrived, Long Xiaotian strode straight into the air and jumped onto the ring. His majestic appearance immediately aroused the exclamation of many people around him. As the head of the Long family, naturally many people came, including the head of the family, Long Anhai, his second son Long Yi, and a group of direct descendants of the Long family, clan elders, etc. At this time, there was still half an hour before noon, but there was still no sign of Xiao Fan at the scene. This made. Isn't Xiao Fan afraid to come? I think so. Fighting Long Xiaotian? Are you kidding? Xiao Fan will probably be beaten to death. But what if he doesn't come? As long as he stays in Jingchuan City for one day, can the Long family let him go? What's more, he is the Long family's son-in-law. After just one day, the news that Xiao Fan was the son-in-law of the Long family naturally spread, and that Xiao Fan was seriously injured by his younger brother and sent to the Long family to marry Long Miaoyin and become a son-in-law. In the audience, Long Anhai's expression was gloomy and uncertain. This life and death battle was so big, but Xiao Fan didn't come. Wouldn't this make everyone laugh at their Long family's joke? Long Yi on the side also had the same idea. When it comes to hating Xiao Fan, he is definitely ranked first among the Long family. Father, isn't that good-for-nothing Xiao Fan afraid to come? Long Yi asked, and everyone in the Long family around him also looked over. Long Anhai lowered his head for a moment, and then said in a deep voice, "Send someone to notify him to come over. If he doesn't come, break his legs and bring him over." The purpose of beating Xiao Fan in public this time was to suppress the Xiao family's arrogance. Even if the Xiao family tells the outside world that Xiao Fan is no longer a member of the Xiao family, does that matter? As long as Xiao Fan is still surnamed Xiao, it represents the Xiao family. Long Yi nodded and planned to leave with a ferocious look on his face, taking the masters of the Long family to call Xiao Fan, but at this time, he heard someone in the crowd exclaim. Xiao Fan is here. Everyone at the scene turned their attention and saw a man and a woman strolling over. The man was dressed in a white robe and looked elegant, while the woman had a graceful figure and a gauze scarf on her face. Everyone at the scene knew who was coming, today's protagonist, Xiao Fan. The crowd in front of Xiao Fan instinctively made way for Xiao Fan and the two of them to move forward without any obstruction, and they slowly walked to the ring. Wait for me here. Xiao Fan left a message to Long Miaoyin and jumped onto the ring. Long Miaoyin gave a soft and then whispered to herself, "Come back safely." It was just noon, and as Xiao Fan came on stage, the surroundings instantly became noisy, and there were even many gambling houses coming to place bets. Close the set immediately, close the set immediately. If you beat Long Xiaotian, you will pay 0.01 for 1. If you beat Xiao Fan, you will pay 100 for 1. This kind of odds is extremely rare no matter where it is, but even if Xiao Fan's odds are so high, there are very few people who will win by betting on him. Only some people who want to get lucky come to try their luck. The people in the gambling shop seemed to have expected this result and were not surprised. After all, as long as they were not stupid, they would not bet on Xiao Fan. However, at this time, a woman's voice sounded, "If I buy Xiao Fansheng, I just have to put down 1,000 spiritual stones." Everyone around was stunned, and he shot out 1,000 spiritual stones. This person was either a fool, or he was telling lies. What is the concept of 1,000 spiritual stones? Except for a few big families in Jingchuan city, it is impossible for anyone else to take it out, even the Xiao family. Among the resources previously exchanged for Xiaotian from the Long family, there were 1,000 spiritual stones. You can see how valuable it is. "Are you kidding me?" That the betting man frowned and was about to get angry, but he saw the woman still holding out a storage bag. He stepped forward to check it and suddenly took a breath of cold air. There are 1,000 spiritual stones neatly placed inside. "It's okay now." The woman smiled lightly. Okay. The gambling man was overjoyed and nodded quickly. After registering, he looked up to see who the woman was, but she had disappeared. He didn't see the other person's appearance clearly from the beginning to the end. He only remembered that the other person was wearing a red dress. On the ring, Xiao Fan looked at Long Xiaotian, and the other party did the same. Both sides looked at each other. Long Xiaotian still had a condescending attitude and said, "I'm giving you a chance to kneel down and beg for mercy. On behalf of the Xiao family, you can admit your mistake to my Long family. I can forgive you." There was an uproar among the people eating melons around. Long Xiaotian just opened his mouth to mobilize his cultivation, and everyone present could hear it clearly. "Huh, Long Xiaotian." Xiao Fan responded lightly, "Are you stupid?" "Huh." Long Xiaotian frowned and his face twitched a few times. How dare Xiao Fan scold him in front of so many people? "Let's not talk about the fact that I have been expelled from the Xiao family and my name is not on the family tree. Even if there is still one, what is the relationship between me, Xiao Fan, and his Xiao family? The Xiao family is nothing." Xiao Fan's voice was loud, and he also mobilized his cultivation so that everyone could hear clearly. "You." Long Xiaotian wanted to say something more, but was interrupted by Xiao Fan. "And who are you, Long Xiaotian, to want me to kneel down and beg for mercy? You deserve it." Hearing Xiao Fan's words, the crowd's noise reached its climax. The faces of the Long family members in the audience became uglier and uglier, especially the head of the family, Long Anhai, who wanted to go up and slap Xiao Fan to death. "Xiaotian, stop nagging him. Just beat this kind of trash to death." Long Anhai said. Long Xiaotian also had this intention. He didn't say much and just took action. "Come on, let me see what you can do." Chapter 12 Taking Drugs on the Way. Purple Fire Pill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Long Xiaotian burst out, and the distance between the two was 100 meters, but in the blink of an eye, Long Xiaotian was in front of Xiao Fan. So fast, that Xiao Fan didn't dare to be careless. The shadow of the famous tree, as Long Xiaotian was the first-class genius among the younger generation in Jingchuan city, was certainly not fake. The two sides fought together for more than 10 rounds in a blink of an eye. The two sides fought back and forth, regardless of the outcome. Xiao Fan was surprised. He could feel the power of Long Xiaotian through the previous fight. He could be sure that the other party was definitely not at the first level of Qi transformation realm. At the very least, it has reached the second peak of the Qi transformation realm, or even the third level. Little did he know that Long Xiaotian was even more surprised to find out that his cultivation had actually reached the second level of the Qi transformation realm, and had reached the second level of perfection. All these opportunities were due to the help of the Thunder Fire sect elder I met during this trip. Damn it, we can't drag it out any longer. Long Xiaotian cursed. The longer the beating lasted, the greater the impact on his reputation. After all, he is the genius of the Long family, and the opponent is just a waste. It takes so much time to defeat a waste. How will others view him? Regarding the dragon elephant body tyrant technique, Xiao Fan was as skilled as fire and his body was tempered very strong during the body training state. Therefore, he has not suffered any serious injuries since his fight with Long Xiaotian. How could it be, how could he be so strong? Under the stage, Long Anhai looked ugly. Isn't the person opposite him a trash from the Xiao family? How is it possible to have the cultivation level of Qi transformation realm? Not only his Long family, but everyone present was shocked. Xiao Fan's fighting power was so strong. Is this what is called waste? If this is trash, what are they? Even worse than trash. On the ring, Long Xiaotian had just been punched in the chest by Xiao Fan. His aura was greatly disturbed. Among his peers, he was the only one who suffered a big loss from Xiaotian. I didn't expect that I would be beaten like this by this trash of the Xiao family today. Xiao Fan. Long Xiaotian roared, unable to accept the reality that he was at a disadvantage against a loser. Xiao Fan was also hit many times by the opponent, but fortunately he had thick skin and thick flesh, so these injuries were not serious to him. At this time, the quality of the technique is revealed, and the strength of the Dragon Elephant Overlord body technique is also revealed. Long Xiaotian punched Xiao Fan in the chest. Xiao Fan dodged and took this opportunity to wave his hand knife and aimed it at Long Xiaotian's neck, but Long Xiaotian reacted very quickly, lowered his head to dodge, and withdrew the punch just in time, aiming at Xiao Fan's abdomen. Xiao Fan thought in his mind, gritted his teeth, closed his hands into fists, and slammed Long Xiaotian below. This was completely a way of exchanging injuries for injuries. Long Xiaotian had already reacted at this time, but he couldn't get away, so he could only grit his teeth and punch. Xiao Fan was punched in the abdomen. He grunted and endured the pain to prevent himself from screaming. His body only retreated slightly, which did not affect his continued attack, but his blow at this time had already reached Long Xiaotian's back. The latter had no way to avoid it and took Xiao Fan's blow forcefully. Boom! A loud noise. Long Xiaotian was beaten to the ground, creating a deep hole in the ground, but he could not hesitate, gritted his teeth, endured the severe pain, propped up his body and walked back. Otherwise, he will become Xiao Fan's target and be attacked by the other party. At this time, Long Xiaotian was out of breath, his hair was disheveled, his clothes were torn to pieces and covered with dust, and he was no longer as elegant as before. On the contrary, Xiao Fan on the opposite side was in much better condition. Although he also suffered a lot of injuries, they were all superficial injuries. Damn. Long Xiaotian was a little broken at this time. He felt that everyone in the audience was watching his jokes, waiting to see him embarrassed and his reputation ruined. However, Long Xiaotian himself also knew that if he continued to fight like this, he would definitely lose this competition. There is no other way. It seems we can only use this. Long Xiaotian gritted his teeth, took out a jade bottle from his arms, opened it, and drank it in one gulp with a distressed look on his face. What is this? Xiao Fan frowned. Although he didn't know what Long Xiaotian had taken, it was definitely not good for him. Xiao Fan did not hesitate. He was not the kind of person who would wait for Long Xiaotian to become stronger. No matter what Long Xiaotian took, as long as he defeated him before the effect was exerted. However, as soon as Long Xiaotian took it, his aura suddenly changed completely. He was completely different from before, and even 3 points stronger than when he was at his peak. Ha! Xiao Fan frowned, but since he was already close, there was no reason to retreat. Well done. Long Xiaotian shouted violently, but in this fight, Xiao Fan did not take any advantage, and even suffered a small loss. In the audience, some people saw Long Xiaotian taking medicine just now and started talking. What did Long Xiaotian eat just now? How did he become so strong all of a sudden? I don't know, could it be some kind of banned drug? I heard that there are quite a lot of this kind of drug. Is this considered a violation? What does temporary medication count? There are many people talking about it, but it is just talking. Long Xiaotian roared, Xiao Fan, you forced me. This is the purple fire pill that I met as a senior from the Thunder Fire sect. It was given to me to save my life. It can instantly stimulate my own potential and improve my strength to a higher level. It is extremely precious. I didn't expect it to be used on you. No wonder. Xiao Fan figured it out. This kind of elixir that can stimulate potential is indeed terrifying, but what Long Xiaotian didn't say was that this purple fire pill also had serious side effects. It only took half a quarter of an hour to improve the cultivation level, and then the body would become even weaker, and it would take at least half a month to recover. This was given to him by the Thunder Fire Sect Senior to escape when he was in danger. He didn't expect that he would use it against Xiao Fan. Long Miaoyin in the audience had a worried face and held his hands tightly. On the Long family side, seeing Long Xiaotian gaining the upper hand, Long Anhai finally looked better, but this was also a shame for him. I guess there are a lot of restrictions on this drug. Xiao Fan thought about it and figured out that this medicine must have a time limit or have any side effects. Haha. Although I only have half a quarter of an hour, it's enough to kill you. Long Xiaotian roared and rushed forward again. Half an hour? Let's see who can outlast whom. Xiao Fan's eyes flashed coldly, and he also went up to meet him, and the two sides fought together again. At this time, the power of Long Xiaotian's attack was 3 points more powerful than before. Originally, it was nothing if he punched Xiao Fan, but now he would feel his internal organs trembling. However, Long Xiaotian also felt uncomfortable. The improvement in strength brought by taking the medicine was true, but it did not mean that he could not feel pain. But he could only grit his teeth and persist, never losing to the opponent. Time passed bit by bit. Xiao Fan was injured in many places and was covered in bloodstains. Long Xiaotian on the opposite side also felt uncomfortable. Although his injuries were not as serious as Xiao Fan's, the shock in his heart was extremely strong. No, it's impossible. How can you be so strong? Chapter 13 Beating Up Long Xiaotian. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The scorching sun was scorching the earth, and the onlookers near the stands of the city lord's mansion were dumbfounded. The trash of the Xiao family, Xiao Fan, the son-in-law of the Long family, was actually able to maintain a stalemate in the ring with the genius of the Long family, Long Xiaotian, even though Xiao Fan was seriously injured and might not win in the end, but it was enough to surprise everyone. No, how can you, a loser, be so strong? Damn it, it's impossible. That the more Long Xiaotian fought, the more frightened he became. He knew very well that in the previous confrontation, several attacks had clearly hit the opponent's vital points. If it had been any other monk, even himself, he would have been spread out on the ground long ago, but the person opposite him who looked like trash was still able to continue fighting. Waste, Xiao Fan sneered, then let me, this loser, destroy you. As soon as he finished speaking, Xiao Fan rushed forward with a single step. On the road behind him, blood dripped in a straight line. Long Xiaotian was in a state of panic, but now he had no time to think about other issues. He had to hurry up and kill Xiao Fan. Half an hour is about to end. The faces of everyone in the Long family were ugly. Long Yi's face was full of panic, and there was even cold sweat on his forehead. Impossible. How can my eldest brother be inferior to a useless person? That the same goes for the head of the family, Long Anhai. He has never looked at this good-for-nothing son-in-law with his own eyes. He even thought about killing him many times to wash away the shame that Xiaotian brought to their Long family. Unexpectedly, where is the waste? The crowd watching in the audience kept shouting. After today, who will dare to call him trash? No, it's impossible. There's no way you, a loser, can defeat me. Long Xiaotian roared, even a little crazy, and fought with Xiao Fan covered in blood, even at the last moment of the drug's effect, using the method of exchanging injuries for injuries. He must do this, otherwise he will be the loser. If you want to change your injuries, I'll help you. Xiao Fan naturally saw the other party's intention. If you punch me, I will slap you back. If it were anyone else, they would definitely not confront Long Xiaotian at this time, but Xiao Fan wanted to defeat the opponent head-on and completely trample the genius of the Long family on his feet, then tell everyone who is the real trash. The Dragon Elephant Tyrant body technique gave Xiao Fan a perfect physique when he was in the body-forging state, supporting him to fight to this day. On the opposite side, Long Xiaotian's aura was already disordered and his strength was declining. Coupled with the powerful impact on his soul, it was obvious that he could no longer hold on. Long Anhai in the audience clenched his hands into fists, his expression gloomy to the extreme. He regretted very much at this moment why he agreed to Long Xiaotian to fight this life and death battle, but regret is useless. It is too late to stop it now, otherwise the Long family will become a joke in Jingchuan city. Half an hour has passed, the effect of the medicine on Long Xiaotian, who was still fighting crazily, disappeared, his breath suddenly dropped, and he fell to the bottom in an instant. However, this was not over yet. Strong pain surged throughout his body, and every muscle and vein seemed to be beaten. It felt like it was torn apart, and the pain was excruciating. The side effects of the medicine are here. Xiao Fan on the field naturally saw all this, but he was not a virgin. While you are sick, I will kill you. Xiao Fan began to fight back. He was covered in blood and suffered more injuries than Long Xiaotian. However, with the support of strong willpower and the dragon elephant tyrant body technique, he persisted until now. Xiao Fan punched Long Xiaotian's face, denting his entire face. However, this was just the beginning. At this time, Long Xiaotian was like a target. His head was bruised and bloody. 7 meat and 8 vegetables, the aftereffects of the drug's effect have caused Long Xiaotian's strength to decline, and he can barely reach the 9th level of the body forging realm. Who is the waste? Xiao Fan hit Long Xiaotian's chest with a punch, and the sound of cracking bones was heard. The latter's ribs were broken no matter how many times. Who did you say you wanted to die before? Another punch hit Long Xiaotian's temple. The opponent's head fell to the ground, and half of his body sank into the ground. At this time, Long Xiaotian was already unconscious, but this was not the end. Xiao Fan knocked him out. Pull up from the ground. Who do you want to kneel down? With a roar, Xiao Fan planned to continue his attack. Long Xiaotian had no power to resist at all, not to mention that everyone was unconscious. The onlookers gasped and felt the hairs all over their bodies trembling. Even the Lord of Jingchuan, who had been secretly watching the competition in the Lord's mansion, also gasped. Enough! A roar came from the audience, and Long Anhai couldn't bear it anymore. If he continued, Long Xiaotian would definitely die. He stood up suddenly, and his cultivation of the great perfection of Qi transformation realm exploded, and a huge wave of air swept over and hit Xiao Fan. Xiao Fan was already seriously injured, and coupled with the disparity in realm, he was blown away several meters by this huge wave. Fortunately, in full view of the public, Long Anhai did not dare to go too far and just repelled Xiao Fan. The winner has been decided. We are all family members. There is no need to kill. Long Anhai said, giving everyone an explanation. Assassin, Xiao Fan snorted coldly. If he and Long Xiaotian reversed their roles today, what would be the result? However, Long Xiaotian is currently disabled, Xiao Fan is seriously injured, and his own strength is far inferior to Long Anhai, so he can only endure it. Long Anhai did not continue to speak. The Long family had lost all face today, but the most important thing at hand was to treat Long Xiaotian. He hugged Long Xiaotian, turned around and left with everyone in the Long family. Xiao Fan on the stage vomited a mouthful of blood. The battle just now took a lot of energy from him. Are you okay? It doesn't matter. Long Miaoyin hurriedly came to the stage to check Xiao Fan's injury. Xiao Fan waved his hand to indicate that she was fine, and then left with Long Miaoyin. The scene was in an uproar. No one expected such a result. The good-for-nothing Xiao Fan actually won the fight. Back at Long's house, Xiao Fan went directly into the secret room to retreat for healing. In this duel with Long Xiaotian, he was seriously injured. If it were a normalized Qi realm monk, he would need to recover for at least a month. However, with the various elixirs in the Zhoutian Shingdo diagram, recovery is not that difficult. Sitting cross-legged and meditating, his spiritual consciousness entered the Zhoutian Shingdo diagram. Xiao Fan did not hesitate and took large gulps of various healing elixirs. He swallowed some elixirs whose names he didn't even know, and the injuries on his body began to recover at a speed visible to the naked eye. Although this encounter is dangerous, it is also an opportunity for me. I can break through the barrier faster during the battle. Xiao Fan murmured, his eyes shining brightly. If he practices normally and does not have the appropriate Qi transformation realm techniques, it will take him at least half a month to reach the first major perfection of the Qi transformation realm, but after this battle with Long Xiaotian, Xiao Fan can achieve the first major perfection as long as he recovers from his injuries. Chapter 14 Shocked Jingchuan City. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Jingchuan City, Xiao family. What, that loser Xiao Fan actually won? How is that possible? Xiao Yuan's face was full of shock. When he heard that the housekeeper came to report, he couldn't believe that all this was true. It's true. Master, the rumors are going crazy outside. The person who spoke was the butler of the Xiao family. He had been in the Xiao family for more than 30 years. He had been very mean to Xiao Fan since he was a child and did not regard him as the young master of the Xiao family at all. How is it possible that when that beast left, he was only at the second level of physical training, and now he can reach the Qi transformation state? No one knows Xiao Fan's qualifications better than him, a father. If his good-for-nothing son becomes a genius, it will definitely be a great joy to other people's families. However, Xiao Yuan doesn't think so. In his eyes, his eldest son is always a waste, and only his second son, Xiaotian Kai, is his son. Master, could it be that Xiao Fan got some treasure? That's why his cultivation improved so quickly. The butler said from the side. Treasure. Xiao Yuan's eyes shone brightly, and he tapped his fingers on the table in deep thought. Long family. In the meeting hall, the atmosphere was extremely depressing. Just after he came back, Long Anhai ordered people to treat Long Xiaotian immediately, and took out all the precious spiritual herbs and elixirs in the Long family's warehouse for Long Xiaotian to take. Fortunately, Long Xiaotian's cultivation level only temporarily declined after taking the medicine, and his foundation was not damaged. He only needed some time to recover. Anhai, how is Xiaotian's injury? Asked an old man with white hair. This man was sitting high in the main seat, and everyone looked at him with great respect. Long Anhai said, Dad, Xiaotian's injury is very serious, but it does not damage the foundation. He can recover after a few months of rest. The old man nodded. He is the ancestor of the Long family. He is a cultivator in the Tongtian realm. He is said to be the first master in Jingchuan City. However, he has been in seclusion all year round and will only come out when there are important matters in the family, but recently, they have appeared one after another. The first time was when Xiaotian snatched resources, the second time was when Xiao Fan injured Long Yi, and the third time was this time, when Long Xiaotian was seriously injured. It's okay. Xiaotian finally had the opportunity to establish a relationship with the elders of the Thunderfire sect. He has a bright future in the future. We can't make mistakes at this time. The ancestor of the Long family said, after entering the Thunderfire sect, everything is different from the outside. There are countless precious techniques in it. Xiaotian has a bright future and is the hope for the future of my Long family. Everyone nodded. The Thunderfire sect is a famous sect in Wuhuang Prefecture. Any elder in the sect is at least in the Xiandan realm. One person can destroy Jingchuan City. Father, what should we do with Xiao Fan? He dared to hurt Xiaotian and deserves death. Long Anhai said in a vicious voice. The ancestor of the Long family lowered his head and pondered for a moment, then slowly said, This son-in-law who comes here is a bit interesting. If there is no other opportunity, it would be because he pretended to be crazy and stupid in the Xiao family before, pretending that he was not talented enough and hiding his strength. After hearing this, everyone had different expressions, and everyone had something to think about. The ancestor of the Long family looked at everyone, and then said, Send someone to monitor him, but don't let him find out, do you understand? In the secret room, Xiaotian had been in seclusion for a day and a night. Most of the injuries on his body had recovered, and his aura was rising steadily, and finally stopped when he reached the first major perfection in the Qi transformation realm. It wasn't that he couldn't continue to rise, but that he was suppressed by Xiao Fan. He has not obtained the Qi transformation realm skills, and it will be of no benefit to him to improve his level without practicing the Qi transformation techniques. It's time to try to smash the second star. In the star map, Xiao Fan summoned a second star. In the world of the star map, the size and solidity of stars are not directly proportional, each star is a test for Xiao Fan at each stage. Only when the strength is reached can the stars be shattered to obtain the treasures within. Xiao Fan's aura surged, his cultivation in the Qi transformation realm reached its peak, and the power of the dragon-elephant tyrant body technique circulated on his right arm. He stood up suddenly, jumped up, and blasted towards the stars in front of him. "Crush it for me!" Xiao Fan roared angrily, and cracks began to appear outside the stars in front of him. As Xiao Fan's power increased, the cracks began to expand, and finally began to completely collapse. The stars exploded and Xiao Fan was panting. He looked up with a happy face and looked at the treasure that appeared in front of him. There are more spiritual stones and elixirs piled into the mountain than when the first star was shattered. A rough estimate shows that these spiritual stones plus the ones that have not been used before are almost tens of thousands. Next to the pile of spiritual stones, there is a shining golden scripture. The 9th transformation of Qi. The level of this technique is actually the lower level of the earth grade. Xiao Fan was shocked and took a breath of air. A low-level earth-level skill. It will not exist in dozens of cities around Jingchuan City, in Wuhuang Prefecture. This kind of technique can only be possessed by the top 10 sects or some top family forces. Otherwise, even if someone accidentally obtains this skill, they will not be able to keep it. Xiao Fan hurriedly opened the 9 transformations of Qi transformation and looked at the contents inside. The 9 transformations of Qi transformation correspond to the cultivation of Qi transformation realm, and contain 3 martial arts. Xiao Fan's face was filled with joy. It is recorded in the fundamental Qi transformation 9 transformation technique that when one reaches the 3rd, 6th, and 9th levels of the Qi transformation realm, it contains 3 extremely terrifying martial arts skills, but they are also extremely draining on oneself, but the power is truly terrifying. But it's a pity that the 9 transformations of Qi transformation only have the first 3 levels of skills, which is only enough for me to reach the 3rd level of Qi transformation realm. Xiao Fan murmured, a little disappointed. He thought he would get the entire 9 transformations of Qi transformation, but in the end he only had the first 3 levels of skills. It seemed like he needed to continue to smash the stars after that to get the rest of the skills, but when you think about it, you feel relieved. After all, the earth-level cultivation technique is not a big deal. What's more, I have countless resources, which can save a lot of practice time, but it is a pity that the treasures in the star map cannot be taken outside. Xiao Fan stopped talking and began to practice the 9 transformation techniques of Qi transformation. Time passed, and 7 days passed quietly in the blink of an eye. During these 7 days, Xiao Fan had been in seclusion in a secret room without going out. Long Miaoyin would deliver food to Xiao Fan on time every day, and then stand guard at the door, never leaving. In the originally quiet courtyard, there were now 3 more maids, sent by Long Anhai to serve Long Miaoyin and Xiao Fan. After the 3 maids came over, they were very respectful to Long Miaoyin, and even inquired about Xiao Fan intentionally or unintentionally. However, they learned that Xiao Fan had been in seclusion for healing since he came back, so they didn't ask any more questions. On weekdays, I do odd jobs in the hospital. The door of the retreat slowly opened, and Xiao Fan, dressed in white robes, slowly walked out. The injuries on his body were no longer visible, and his aura was much stronger than before. "Xiao Fan, are you okay?" Seeing Xiao Fan come out, Long Miaoyin exclaimed, looked Xiao Fan up and down, felt the change in the other person's aura, and was slightly surprised. Long Miaoyin also practiced, but due to talent issues and her natural dislike of practicing, her cultivation was only at the 4th level of the body training realm. "I'm fine. How are you doing outside?" Chapter 15. Someone from the Xiao family comes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After leaving the door of the secret room, Xiao Fan saw the maids cleaning around him. When these maids saw Xiao Fan coming out, they lowered their heads and did not dare to look at each other, with some fear in their eyes. "I don't know much about the outside world, but the news about you defeating my eldest brother has spread widely. No one in the family came to ask for trouble, but 3 servants were sent over, saying they were here to serve us." Long Miaoyin recounted what happened recently. Xiao Fan nodded. The person sent here is probably an informant. After all, he, a loser, suddenly reached the Qi transformation state and defeated Long Xiaotian. It was normal for the Long family to be curious. One more thing, the Xiao family sends people over every day to inquire about your injuries, but I always refuse them on the grounds that you are seriously injured and in seclusion for recuperation. Long Miaoyin told another piece of news. Xiao family. Xiao Fan was stunned for a moment, and after trying to understand the reason, he sneered again. The Xiao family must be curious about why I suddenly became so powerful. Could it be that they still care about me? Long Miaoyin didn't say anything. She knew Xiao Fan's hatred for the Xiao family, so she changed the subject and asked, "Are you hungry? I'll go to the kitchen to get you some food." Xiao Fan nodded, and the two of them left and went to the hall in the other courtyard. As soon as Xiao Fan came out, Long Anhai received the news. The son-in-law who was looked down upon before and was beaten to death by his own brother unexpectedly defeated his proud son. This resentment made him feel very unhappy. However, the attitude of the ancestor of the Long family was unclear, so Long Anhai did not dare to do anything privately. After staying in the Long family for so long, every time I had dinner with Long Miaoyin, I always had porridge and vegetarian dishes, but today, Xiao Fan was stunned when he saw the table full of delicacies from the mountains and seas. Among them was the drunken immortal chicken, which was made from precious spiritual chicken. It was expensive and had the effect of prolonging life and improving qi and blood. Seeing Xiao Fan's expression, before he could ask, Long Miaoyin spoke first. I don't know, so I just told you that you were out of seclusion, and the kitchen hurriedly prepared these foods, saying, I need to give you a good supplement. All right. Xiao Fan was naturally very happy to have delicious food delivered to his door, especially the drunken fairy chicken. In the past, the Xiao family only ate it during festivals, but it didn't belong to Xiao Fan at all, it all belonged to Xiaotian. Xiao Fan can't see through the attitude of the Long family at the moment. After he showed his strength and defeated Long Xiaotian, the Long family would do two things. One is to show goodwill to him and express goodwill. After all, he is now considered a member of the Long family. The second type, revenge for Long Xiaotian, but so far, this second option has not happened. After enjoying a delicious meal, Xiao Fan was very satisfied. It could be said that it was the most filling meal he had eaten since birth. At this time, a servant came to report. Xiao, third master, the Xiao family has sent someone here. Hearing what his servant said, Xiao Fan was startled for a moment, then sneered, Are the Xiao family so anxious? Then, third master, do you want to see me? The servants asked carefully. In the Long family, they all called Xiao Fan a loser in private, but after Xiao Fan defeated Long Xiaotian, everyone who talked about Xiao Fan behind his back became cautious. The person in front of him was an evil star. See, tell him to come in. Xiao Fan said calmly. Long Miaoyin on the side was confused. Xiao Fan didn't have a good impression of the Xiao family, but he didn't ask any more questions. After a while, the servant led the way and took the Xiao family members into the other courtyard. When Xiao Fan saw the person coming, he sneered. It turned out to be the housekeeper of the Xiao family. When he was in the Xiao family, this housekeeper often fanned the flames and said bad things about him. He only wanted to curry favor with Xiaotian, and also deducted his pitiful monthly salary. The Xiao family followed their servants and strode into the annex. After entering the hall, they saw Xiao Fan at first sight. His appearance had not changed, but the temperament exuding from his body was different from before. Xiao. Young master, are you okay? The housekeeper said habitually, but thinking of Xiao Fan's current strength, he immediately changed his words with a flattering look on his face. Xiao Fan squinted at the housekeeper with his peripheral vision. He was very familiar with the smile on the other side. He always looked like this when he was in front of his younger brother. If you have anything to say, just tell me. Don't tell me you really care about my injury, right? Listening to Xiao Fan's cold words, the housekeeper's face felt a little hot. He felt aggrieved that the trash he had never looked at before had now become the one he wanted to please, but now the housekeeper doesn't dare to have an attack. After all, Xiao Fan has reached the Qi transformation realm, and he came here with a mission. Young master, the master and his wife asked me to come here. I am mainly concerned about your injury. The housekeeper paused and continued to smile. Also, the master is very curious. When you left the Xiao family, your cultivation level was not high. It is the second level of the body forging realm. How did you reach the Qi transformation realm in less than a month? After hearing this, Xiao Fan sneered, Haha, how did I reach the Qi transformation realm? Do I need to explain to you? We are a family after all. The butler smiled bitterly. No, not anymore. Not when you sent me here to be your son-in-law in exchange for resources for Xiaotian. Xiao Fan said coldly. But... The housekeeper still wanted to speak, but when he saw Xiao Fan's dagger-like eyes, he was so frightened that he choked what he wanted to say. Xiao Fan shouted coldly, if you have nothing to do, just get out. The housekeeper did not dare to stay any longer and turned to leave. After returning to the Xiao family, the housekeeper went straight to the hall and told everything about the Long family. Master. I went there on your behalf, but Xiao Fan did not give me any face at all, and even drove me out, and he also said that he was no longer a member of the Xiao family. The housekeeper was wronged by Xiao Fan, and he complained immediately after returning. Hearing the housekeeper's words, Xiao Yuan slapped his palm on the table and cursed angrily, this beast, I really gave him face. Master, this matter cannot be forgotten. This little beast must have a secret. We must get it and give it to Tian'er. In the future, Tian'er will surely bring honor to the family. Wei Xia also spoke up on the side. I know. Xiao Yuan nodded, calmed down his anger, and then said to the housekeeper, lead the way, I will go and talk to this little beast myself. After eating and drinking, Xiao Fan and Long Miaoyin gave a few simple instructions and planned to return to the secret room to continue practicing. At present, time is urgent. He doesn't know what the Long family plans to do next, so he must hurry up to improve his strength. At this time, there was a roar at the door. Get out of here, as his father, I came to see him, I don't know who dares to stop me. Chapter 16 Biological Father Xiao Yuan arrives to ask for an opportunity. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It came so quickly. Hearing this familiar voice, Xiao Fan sneered. Originally, he didn't plan to see his father so soon, but since the other party is here, it doesn't hurt to meet him. Long Miaoyin was smart. Hearing the man's shout outside and Xiao Fan's expression, he probably guessed who the person was. You really can't come in. Let me inform the third master first. The servant who blocked the way felt bitter. Xiao Yuan ignored that and shouted angrily, get out of here. How could these servants be his opponents? After pushing away the servants, he strode into the other courtyard and reached the hall under the guidance of the housekeeper. If it were before, Xiao Yuan would definitely not have dared to cause trouble in the Long family, but now that Xiao Tian has joined the Piamiao Immortal Palace, what would the Long family dare to do to them? After entering the hall, the father and son looked at each other. Xiao Yuan did not speak first, and Xiao Fan also did not speak, but looked at his father coldly, the father who once regarded him as trash and traded items. Long Miaoyin sat quietly aside, without speaking a word. Her face was covered with a gauze, so outsiders could not see her expression. Xiao Fan, who has reached the Qi transformation realm, has a very different aura than before. This change is essential. Xiao Yuan was extremely angry. When his useless son saw him coming, he would have such an attitude. But thinking of the purpose of his coming, he still forced himself to endure, took a deep breath, and then slowly said, is your injury healed? Then, before Xiao Fan could answer, Xiao Yuan found a seat and sat down on his own. Xiao Fan looked calm and couldn't tell what was in his heart. He said calmly, nothing has happened. Xiao Yuan nodded, hesitated, and asked, have you really reached the Qi transformation realm? That he couldn't believe that it took him 1 month to reach the Qi transformation realm from the body forging realm. How is this possible? You know, it took Xiaotian 3 years to cultivate from the body forging state to the Qi transformation state. Xiao Fan picked up the teacup on the table, took a sip, and said calmly, what do you think? In the hall at this time, it seemed that Xiao Fan was the elder. Seeing the attitude of his son, whom he had previously considered a waste, Xiao Yuan once again suppressed his anger and said, "So you admit it. The purpose of my coming here is very simple. I just want to ask you how you practiced and whether you got any treasures." Xiao Fan was not surprised by Xiao Yuan's directness and replied calmly, "Yes, so what? No, so what? If so, I hope you can give the opportunity you get to your brother." "Give him?" Xiao Fan's voice suddenly turned cold, and he beat himself half to death, calling his brother trash repeatedly. "Now that I got the opportunity, I let myself give it to him. Yes, your brother is a real genius, but your qualifications are mediocre, so for the sake of the Xiao family and your brother, giving him your opportunity is the best choice." Xiao Yuan explained that he did not believe that Xiao Fan practiced by his own ability and must have obtained some treasure. In other words, "I don't recognize this son from the bottom of my heart." Haha. Xiao family, Xiao Fan looked coldly, stared into Xiao Yuan's eyes, and said coldly, "Xiao Yuan, have you forgotten that my current identity is the son-in-law, and I have nothing to do with the Xiao family? Also, I remember that you personally announced a few days ago that you would remove my name from the Xiao family tree. This means that I will no longer be in the Xiao family from the beginning to the end, right?" Xiao Yuan was stunned. He indeed forgot that he crossed out Xiao Fan's name from the family tree. At that time, he was afraid that the Xiao family would lose to Long Xiaotian and embarrass the Xiao family, so he made this decision. After that, Xiao Fan won and the incident was forgotten by him. "Young master, at that time I was also thinking about the family and was afraid that the Xiao family would be embarrassed. What's more, you are still bleeding from the Xiao family, aren't you?" The butler on the side said hurriedly. "Is it your turn as a servant to speak here?" Xiao Fan shouted coldly, and with a backhand palm, a wave of air shot out from his palm and directly hit the butler's chest. Puff! The housekeeper flew out, spit out a mouthful of blood after falling to the ground, and his face turned pale. "Xiao Fan, how dare you do it in front of me?" Xiao Yuan stood up and shouted angrily, and he was also frightened. Xiao Fan's strength has indeed reached the Qi transformation realm, and it is not the first level of the Qi transformation realm. Judging from the aura just emitted, he has at least reached the third level of the Qi transformation realm. In fact, Xiao Yuan guessed wrong. Xiao Fan spent 7 days in seclusion in a secret room, and his cultivation level went from the first level of the Qi transformation realm to the middle stage of the second level of the Qi transformation realm. However, because of the power of the 9 Qi transformation technique, Xiao Fan's current strength is comparable to the third level of Qi transformation realm. When the master speaks, it will be the servant's turn to open his mouth. Xiao Fan did not step back, but spoke coldly. Xiao Yuan's cultivation is close to the great perfection of Qi transformation realm, but this is the Long family. Xiao Yuan would definitely not fall out with the housekeeper and start a fight with him. The housekeeper didn't dare to say a word. He felt a very strong evil spirit from Xiao Fan. Now he didn't dare to anger this evil star. Xiao Yuan took a breath and did not pursue the butler's matter. He spoke again. "What is your opportunity? Can it be given to your brother?" "My chance?" Xiao Fan sneered. "Haha. I think you are overthinking it. Regardless of whether I have a chance or not, even if I do you think I will give it to Xiaotian? Stop dreaming." Xiao Yuan stared at Xiao Fan fiercely, and the latter also gave in, looking at each other with the same gaze. "Let's go." Finally, Xiao Yuan squeezed out a few words through his teeth, turned around and left. The butler on the ground got up with difficulty and staggered away. He didn't want to stay here for a minute. Looking at Xiao Yuan's leaving figure, the father and son of the past have become what they are now. Xiao Fan didn't feel that what he did was wrong. How had the other party ever regarded him as his son? Xiao Yuan returned to Zhao's house and angrily smashed all kinds of things within reach in the hall. Damn, you traitor. This loser, how dare he talk to me like this? Damn it, I asked him to give up the opportunity, but he refused. Damn it. Xiao Yuan's scolding could be heard clearly by the entire Xiao mansion, and Wei Xia's face turned very ugly when she saw this. Master, is there really no way to make that beast give up the opportunity? After hearing this, Xiao Yuan yelled, Damn it, what can I do? Master, why don't you send someone to take this news to Miao Miao Immortal Palace, tell Tian'er what to do, and let Tian'er make the decision. Wei Xia said, Tian'er is now a disciple of Immortal Palace, and he is respected by Immortal Palace. When the time comes, let Tian'er bring some people from the Immortal Palace over and torture that little beast to see if he can tell you anything. After hearing this, Xiao Yuan's eyes lit up and he thought this was a good idea. Now Xiao Fan has married into the Long family, and he has also reached the Qi transformation realm. Even if he wanted to suppress it now, he couldn't. Chapter 17 Long Yi's Conspiracy. Long Anhai's 60th birthday. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Naturally, Xiao Fan didn't know what the Xiao family thought. At this time, he was already practicing in the secret room. With the massive resources, Xiao Fan practiced very quickly, sitting cross-legged, holding a spiritual stone in each hand, absorbing the majestic spiritual power in the spiritual stone. It flows into the dantian and travels through the hundreds of veins throughout the body, but from the outside world, Xiao Fan was just sitting cross-legged and meditating, and there was nothing wrong with it. However, his aura was clearly growing. The strange thing about the Zhoutian Xingdou diagram is that the outside world and the inside world are not connected to each other, just like the inside is a world of its own. Xiao Fan had never heard of this kind of treasure, but Xiao Fan estimated that it was at least a heaven-level treasure. Time passed by, and another 7 days passed, and the Xiao family never sent anyone again. In Long Mansion, although Xiao Fan was in seclusion and occasionally appeared once in a while, those who monitored him never relaxed and reported everything to Long Anhai. In a hidden secret room of the Long family, Long Anhai was respectfully talking to the ancestor of the Long family about Xiao Fan's recent schedule. Dad, this kid has been in seclusion since he came back and has never left the Long family at all. Do you think the opportunity will fall on him? Long Anhai's thoughts were the same as those of the Xiao family, and they both believed that Xiao Fan must have received some kind of opportunity to achieve such rapid growth in strength. Otherwise, how could he suddenly become stronger after being a trash for nearly 20 years? I have never left. The ancestor of the Long family murmured to himself, lowered his head and thought for a moment, then slowly said, in the past few days, I have secretly observed him many times. Xiao Fan has been secretly observing him. There is nothing suspicious about practicing indoors. The cultivation level of the ancestor of the Long family is at the Tongtian realm, which is a big difference from Xiao Fan. The secret room used by Xiao Fan was also very ordinary. With the strength of the ancestor of the Long family, it was very easy to explore it without Xiao Fan knowing about it. Hearing this, Long Anhai was quite surprised and asked, Dad, what do you mean? There is nothing weird about this kid. At least it can be confirmed that even if the other party has a magic weapon to improve his cultivation, it is not on him. Is it possible that he relied on his own talent? Isn't it possible that he can go from the second level of the body forging stage to the Qi transformation stage in less than a month? Long Anhai couldn't believe it. People have always looked down on him as a trash. Suddenly he became a genius. This strong contrast made him feel so unreal. The ancestor of the Long family nodded, sighed, and said, I am also curious about this matter, but when I watch him meditating, his aura increases obviously and his cultivation speed is very fast. He is definitely a top-notch qualification. As for why the Xiao family has said that he is a waste for so many years, I don't know. Or maybe Xiao Fan has been hiding his talent before and has not shown it. Long Anhai seemed to have understood something and said, the Xiao family has always focused on their second son Xiaotian. Xiaotian has amazing qualifications. On the contrary, Xiao Fan has average qualifications and is not popular with the Xiao family on weekdays. He is also being targeted by Xiaotian, otherwise he would not have sent me as the son-in-law of the Long family in exchange for resources. Is it because Xiao Fan is afraid of being persecuted by the Xiao family or Xiaotian? The ancestor of the Long family nodded, it's very possible. In short, be nice to this Xiao Fan in the future. If the other person is really talented and joins our Long family, it will also be a good thing for our Long family. I understand, Dad. Long Anhai knew what it meant to be a genius who could reach the Qi transformation realm from the body forging realm in 1 month. Even if he resents Xiao Fan, from the family's perspective, he has to reconsider things about Xiao Fan. in a luxurious courtyard of the Long family, Long Xiaotian was sitting cross-legged in the room. After this period of cultivation, his injuries were no longer harmful, but he looked a little pale due to lack of energy and blood. Ever since he lost the life and death battle with Xiao Fan, he has never left his own courtyard. There is a person sitting next to him, it is his brother Long Yi. "Brother, how are you?" Long Yi asked. Long Xiaotian shook his head and said, "The injury is no longer harmful, but the side effects of the medicine have not subsided. It will take a while to recover." After Long Yi hesitated for a moment, he said, "Brother, then Xiao Fan, are we really going to let him go like this?" "Brother, you are the future head of the Long family. He is just a son-in-law. He dares to hurt you. Brother, can you really swallow this?" Hearing this, Long Xiaotian's face turned gloomy. He lost to a trash in the eyes of others. This kind of blow was too big for him. Seeing that Long Xiaotian was silent, Long Yi's voice became louder. "Brother, this Xiao Fan dares to hurt you and humiliate you in front of everyone now, without leaving you any face. What about the future? Wait for him. If you are stronger, you won't even take the ancestor into consideration. If Long Xiaotian doesn't hate Xiao Fan, it's a lie." The young master of the Long family himself was beaten to death in public in Jingchuan city. Then what else can be done? I am no match for him, and no one among my peers in the Long family is his match. That the rules of the Long family are that only peers can discuss matters, and elders cannot interfere in the affairs of younger generations. Brother, no one among the younger generation of our Long family is his opponent, but that doesn't mean that Xiao Fan is invincible among the younger generation. Long Yi said with a smug smile in his eyes, "There are only 10 days left. For Dad's 60th birthday, not only the people from Jingchuan city will come to attend, but also the Wang family from Linchuan city, the Su family from Moyun city, and other families will come. At that time, we can instigate a fight between them and Xiao Fan. The Wang family in Linchuan city and the Su family in Moyun city are both powerful local forces, equivalent to the status of the Long family in Jingchuan city, and the relationship between the two families has been good all year round. Whenever they go out to visit other forces, the family usually takes the best members of the younger generation with them. On the one hand, it is to increase their knowledge, and on the other hand, it is to have the opportunity to make friends with peers from other forces. On the other side, Xiao Fan has been practicing in a secret room. Being a trash for nearly 20 years made him hold his breath in his heart. He wished he had to sleep endlessly and practice to improve his strength. 10 days had passed since this retreat, and Xiao Fan finally slowly opened his eyes. "We have finally reached the 3rd level of Qi transformation realm. It's time to go out." Xiao Fan smiled and was in a good mood. The breakthrough time this time was a little slower, mainly because he was practicing the first martial skill among the 9 transformations of Qi transformation, Throat Lock. This move is so powerful that it can instantly unleash 3 times the destructive power of one's peak strength. In terms of strength, Xiao Fan is currently at the 3rd level of the Qi transformation realm. A full blow of the throat-shattering lock can unleash the lethality of the 5th level of the Qi transformation realm. However, the shortcomings are also obvious. It consumes too much and can only be used as a trump card, but this also makes Xiao Fan satisfied. After leaving the secret room, Long Miaoyin now no longer needs to guard the door except when she comes to deliver meals every day. In fact, you can just let any servant do the meal delivery, but Long Miaoyin insisted on doing it himself. When I arrived in the hall, I saw Long Miaoyin, who was a little embarrassed, and told Xiao Fan some news. "Xiao Fan, my father's birthday is in 7 days. Chapter 18 Treasure Pavilion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There are only 7 days left for the birthday of the family leader Long Anhai. Xiao Fan did not expect such a coincidence. Logically speaking, now that he has married into the Long family, he is a member of the Long family, not to mention that he has a relationship with Long Miaoyin, so he must go away both emotionally and rationally. Xiao Fan thought for a while, then nodded and agreed, "Okay, I will accompany you when the time comes." In the entire Long family, or the entire Jingchuan city, the only person Xiao Fan cares about now is Long Miaoyin. Hearing Xiao Fan agree, Long Miaoyin was obviously relieved. He was really afraid that Xiao Fan would not want to go. In the previous duel with Long Xiaotian in the ring, Long Anhai favored Long Xiaotian. Xiao Fan had no good impression of him, but the two sides were not enemies. What's more, the other party is Long Miaoying's father. Have you prepared the birthday gift? Xiao Fan asked. Long Miaoying shook her head and said, no, in the past years, I would not be invited to attend Dad's birthday. Only this year, someone was sent to notify me. In the past, Long Anhai was afraid of being embarrassed, so he never let Long Miaoying attend. This was also the reason why Long Miaoying wanted to participate. The visitor specifically asked her and Xiao Fan to be invited together. After thinking about this, Xiao Fan nodded and said with a smile, then what do you want to give as a birthday gift? Long Miaoying shook her head, paused and then said, I don't have much use for money on weekdays. Although the monthly money distributed by Long Mansion is small, I keep it all the time. I want to go out these days. Let's see if there is a suitable gift and buy one for my dad. Okay, I'll go with you then. Xiao Fan smiled. Real? Real. After hearing this, Long Miaoying was in a good mood. She rarely left the house on weekdays. She originally wanted to ask Xiao Fan to accompany her, but he had been busy practicing, so she was embarrassed to speak. Unexpectedly, Xiao Fan brought it up first. Xiao Fan was filled with gratitude towards Long Miaoying. The two had the same fate. They were both used as tools for family marriage, and no one had ever really cared about them. Accompanying Long Miaoying when going out was just a piece of cake for Xiao Fan. The next day, the weather in Jingchuan city was fine. Long Miaoying and Xiao Fan are ready. Xiao Fan was dressed in white, but Long Miaoying had specially dressed up today, wearing a unique green dress. She still wore the gauze scarf on her face, but her eyes looked brighter and more attractive than before. This time out, Long Miaoying notified the mansion and asked the mansion to prepare a carriage. The entire Long mansion was very puzzled. On weekdays, Long Miaoying would not go out at all, so why did he go out today? And still with Xiao Fan, this matter was also reported to Long Anhai, not because Long Miaoying was going out, but because Xiao Fan was going out. Long Anhai ordered people to monitor Xiao Fan's every move and not let him go during the whole process. The Long family has always been curious about whether there are secrets in Xiao Fan. When Xiao Fan and his two went out this time, they did not have anyone from the Long mansion accompanying them. Only a groom. The two of them had already discussed where they wanted to go. Jinbao Pavilion, the largest store in Jingchuan city. Long Miaoying didn't know much about the outside world, but Xiao Fan knew it very well. Jinbao Pavilion is the largest business house in Wuhuang Prefecture. Its branches are found in every city in Wuhuang Prefecture. It has huge financial resources. There are also rumors that Jinbao Pavilion is the property of Wuhuang dynasty. But these are just rumors and have not been confirmed. Another point is that although the price of this Jinbao Pavilion is a bit more expensive than outside, its reputation is very guaranteed, and everything sold is guaranteed to be authentic. They will also purchase elixirs, magical herbs, magic weapons, and even exercises. Although the prices given are lower than those on the market, they are still reasonable and there has never been any reports of murder or looting. The two carriages stopped in front of the treasure attic, and Xiao Fan and Long Miaoying entered. The treasure pavilion is divided into 4 floors, corresponding to heaven, earth, xian, and huang. The yellow layer is very common and can be entered by everyone. Here you can buy more common magic weapons, elixirs, etc. At Xuanzi level, if there is no background, if you want to enter the realm of cultivation, you need to be at the Qi transformation realm or above. As for the earth character layer and the sky character, Xiao Fan is not clear about these. Xiao Fan led Long Miaoying around on the first floor. There were many people here, but no one recognized their identities. Only occasionally someone glanced at the two with curious eyes. Long Miaoying didn't go out often, and although Xiao Fan defeated Long Xiaotian in the ring, not many people could see his appearance clearly because the ring was far away from the stands. Although the magic weapons and elixirs here are good, they are still not as good as birthday gifts. Long Miaoying sighed. Although the monthly payment from the Long family over the years was not much, it was still a large amount after saving. As it was her first time to attend her father's birthday party, she naturally wanted to prepare a gift that was affordable. Then let's go to the second floor and take a look. Xiao Fan smiled and led Long Miaoyin and the others into the second floor. On the first floor, someone heard Xiao Fan's words and found it funny. They thought that it must be the first time for these two people to come to Zhenbao Pavilion. To enter the second floor, they need to cultivate to the Qi transformation realm, and Xiao Fan looks so young. How is it possible? But no one said anything. They just watched the fun with the mood of watching a good show. There are guards guarding every floor here, but it doesn't happen that dogs look down on people. The guards tried to stop Xiao Fan, but Xiao Fan exuded the aura of Qi transformation realm strength from his body. The gatekeeper felt that Xiao Fan's cultivation was indeed at the Qi transformation realm, so he let him pass. However, those who were waiting to watch the excitement on the first floor were a little dumbfounded. Is this boy really at the Qi transformation realm? At this time, Xiao Fan and the others entered the second floor, the Xuanzi layer. The area was about the same as the first floor, but there were fewer people on this floor, only a few dozen people, either family members wearing gorgeous clothes, or cultivators who had reached the Qi transformation realm or above. Seeing Xiao Fan coming in, he attracted a lot of attention, and his eyes were full of curiosity. Could such a young boy be at the Qi transformation realm? But again, no one said anything, just looked at him curiously. Sir, hello, what do you need? That at this time, a girl wearing clothes printed with the treasure pavilion walked up to Xiao Fan and spoke respectfully, her eyes full of curiosity. Xiao Fan looked at the girl in front of him, and then looked at the people around him. Most of these people were accompanied by girls wearing such clothes. The girls seemed to see Xiao Fan's confusion, and then explained, Sir, after entering the Xuanzi layer, in order to facilitate your purchase, our treasure pavilion will be equipped with one-to-one special services. Hearing this, Xiao Fan nodded. Well, I want a gift suitable for birthday celebrations. Take me to see it. This may be the privilege of big people. Chapter 19 Selling Magic Weapons. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sir, please come here. As a birthday gift, there is a 1,000-year-old blood ginseng tree here, which is more suitable. The girl took Xiao Fan and the two of them to the counter that sold elixirs, and told the shopkeeper in charge of the elixirs that she wanted to take a look at the blood ginseng. Then the shopkeeper took out a bright red ginseng from the counter. The blood ginseng also exuded a faint smell of blood, and introduced, this 1,000-year-old blood ginseng has the effect of nourishing qi and blood. After taking it, it prolongs life and strengthens qi and blood, and is very effective for older people. Long Miaoyin on the side was very satisfied. This kind of blood ginseng was easy to get, and it was especially suitable for giving to her father. Xiao Fan thought this blood spirit ginseng was good, so he asked, how can I sell this blood spirit ginseng? Blood spirit ginseng is cheaper if it is hundreds of years old, but this one is 1,000 years old, so it is more expensive. The price is 300 spirit stones. The shopkeeper said with a smile. 300 spiritual stones. After hearing this, Long Miaoyin took a breath of air. She only had more than 30 pieces of spiritual stones accumulated over the years. Even if she spent them all, it would only be enough to buy a few ginseng seeds. As for Xiao Fan, he frowned. He had no shortage of spiritual stones, but they were all in the star diagram and could not be taken out at all. Seeing that Long Miaoyin liked it, Xiao Fan sighed, thought for a while, then looked at the girl and asked, are you buying magic weapons here? Magical weapon? The girl was stunned for a moment, then smiled. Of course, we have a master who evaluates the magical weapon in Zhenbao Pavilion to ensure that each magical weapon can be given the most reasonable price, and the identity of the seller is absolutely unknown. Keep it secret and no one will know. Xiao Fan nodded. Okay, I have a magic weapon that I want to evaluate. Xiao Fan thought of the unicorn knife that he snatched from Chu He when he killed him. This knife is shady and cannot be known to the Long family. Otherwise, many things will be unclear, so it would be better to sell it here. Although there was a risk of exposure in doing so, Xiao Fan still wanted to do it for Long Miaoyin. After all, he owed the latter a lot. Xiao Fan and the others were taken to a cabinet on the second floor. There was an old man with white hair in the room. This is Master Lu from our treasure pavilion. He is responsible for identifying various treasures, magic weapons, elixirs. The girl gave a brief introduction to Master Lu. Master Lu was very arrogant. After Xiao Fan and Long Miaoyin came in, he just glanced at them without saying a word. Xiao Fan nodded, without further ado, took out the unicorn knife from his arms and placed it on the table in front of Master Lu. Master Lu was stunned, then excitedly picked up the unicorn knife and looked at it carefully. A good knife, a good knife. The blade is sharp and contains strong evil energy. The grade is lower than the Xian level. Master Lu seemed to be a different person from just now, without the initial arrogance. Now he was playing with the unicorn knife, just like a single man looking at his little daughter-in-law, unable to put it down. The girl was a little embarrassed and explained with a smile, Master Lu is a famous treasure appraiser. He has a habit of doing this when he sees treasures. He can't put them down. Please don't mind. Xiao Fan nodded and said nothing. It was normal for such people to have their own quirks. But Long Miaoyin was stunned. She naturally knew that the Linjiao Dao was with Xiao Fan. It was one of the treasures of their long family, and she knew very well how valuable it was. She didn't expect Xiao Fan to exchange this for the spirit stone. It's not because I'm afraid that the Long family's treasure will be lost outside, but because I feel it's a pity. This unicorn knife is definitely a fine magical weapon, otherwise the Long family wouldn't cherish it so much. Xiao Fan. Or forget it. Long Miaoyin whispered in Xiao Fan's ear. Xiao Fan smiled, looked at Long Miaoyin and said softly, how can we forget it? Keeping this knife in your hand is a trouble in itself, and your father's birthday party cannot be empty-handed. A flash of light flashed in Long Miaoyin's eyes. She knew that Xiao Fan did this entirely for her, and she was very moved. However, she just said and didn't say anything. The relationship between the two is very complicated. They are married in name, but they are not married in reality. They have not known each other for long, but they trust each other and regard each other as the most important person. This knife is not bad. It is worth about 1,500 spiritual stones. If we buy it from Jinbao Pavilion, the price can be 1,200 yuan. How about it? Master Lu said directly, it is not hidden at all. The value of the Linjiao knife itself and the purchase price are all told to you, allowing you to decide for yourself. Xiao Fan was surprised. He didn't expect this unicorn knife to be so valuable. He just hesitated for a moment and nodded, okay. Happy. Master Lu laughed, and then continued to play with the unicorn knife in his hand. The girl on the side smiled awkwardly and said, Sir, please wait a moment, I will go get the spirit stone for you. After a while, the girl took out a storage bag containing 1,200 spiritual stones. The group did not stop here. With the spirit stone in hand, Xiao Fan took Long Miaoyin back to the second-floor hall and went directly to the display case of the blood spirit ginseng. I want this blood spirit ginseng. Wrap it up. Xiao Fan said. He had enough spirit stones this time and there was no hesitation. The girl was delighted and said with a smile, okay, you. But before he could speak, he was interrupted by a voice. Wait a minute, why didn't you show me this blood ginseng just now? Xiao Fan looked around and saw that the person speaking was a man, not very old, in his early 20s, wearing fine clothes, followed by several servants dressed as servants, and an old man with black hair following closely beside him. This blood ginseng was chosen by this lord before. He went to the cabinet to appraise the treasure, so the blood ginseng was kept by this lord and was not taken out. The shopkeeper in charge of elixirs he spoke, looking a little embarrassed. That means he didn't pay just now, so the transaction was not completed. If you don't show it to me, are you looking down on my Su family? The young man who spoke suddenly turned gloomy and spoke in a vicious voice. The old man in his body frowned, as if he wanted to stop him, but did not stand up. After all, it was this adult who took a fancy to it first, and this adult has already decided to buy it, the shopkeeper said. The young man snorted coldly. The power of Jinbao Pavilion was very strong. He didn't know how strong it was. However, the family had warned many times that they should never offend this Jinbao Pavilion easily. The young man is not a fool, and he does not really intend to offend the treasure pavilion. He looks at Xiao Fan and Long Miaoyin. The latter is covering his face with a gauze scarf to see clearly, while Xiao Fan is wearing a white robe, but the material is very average, not like a wealthy family. I've taken a fancy to this blood ginseng, give it to me. The young man's attitude is very arrogant. This kind of behavior is very common for the children of the family. They rely on the family's support to become arrogant. If it were someone else, they might be afraid of his identity and give things to him, but Xiao Fan wouldn't do that. Not for sale. Chapter 20 Su Ming of the Su family in Moyun City. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The young man was stunned, but he didn't expect that the young man in white robe in front of him would reject him without even thinking. Xiao Fan glanced at the young man, then took out 300 spiritual stones from the storage bag and handed them to the shopkeeper, completing the transaction. From the beginning to the end, Xiao Fan never looked at him, which made the young man very angry. Boy, you rejected me without even thinking. Do you know who I am? That the young man shouted coldly. I am from the Su family in Moyun City. You have to think carefully. If you don't have the money to buy it, it will cost you your life. That these words were clearly a threat. Xiao Fan's face darkened, and Long Miaoing behind him also had a worried look on his face. The Su family in Moyun City is the largest family in the area. Its status is the same as that of the Long family in Jingchuan City. Moreover, the other party is much wealthier than the Long family and has more experts. Sir, this is the treasure pavilion. I hope you will speak carefully. The shopkeeper said in a deep voice. He was a little embarrassed because he had trouble with the young man before, but that didn't mean he was afraid of the young man. The Zhenbao Pavilion can stand everywhere in Wuhuangzhou, so they naturally have the confidence. I didn't do anything, I just told a fact. Don't worry, I won't cause trouble in your treasure pavilion. The young man surnamed Su snorted coldly and said to Xiao Fan, let me tell you, my name is Su Ming. If you know the truth and give me the things now, forget about it. Otherwise. Su Ming, that the movement here naturally attracted the attention of many people on the second floor. When they heard the name Su Ming, many people knew him, a genius among the younger generation of the Su family in Moyun City. He entered the Qi transformation realm at the age of 20, and is now at the second level of the Qi transformation realm. Xiao Fan had heard of Su Ming before, but he didn't expect to see him under such circumstances today. In the past, I might have been jealous and tolerant of such a genius who was only slightly less talented than my younger brother, but now. Are you done? If you are done, get out of here. Xiao Fan said coldly. You dare to talk to me like this, you are seeking death. Su Ming was furious. As a direct descendant of the Su family in Moyun City, he was respected by everyone no matter where he was. Even the children of the same family as him were polite when they saw him. Never have I ever been so angry. His mind became hot, and he completely forgot about what he just said, that he would not cause trouble. He didn't care where he was, and rushed forward. The second level of Qi transformation realm was released from around him, and his shots were very sharp. One punch. Xiao Fan frowned, but fortunately he was on guard and slapped it with his backhand. Stop! The shopkeeper shouted angrily, but it was already too late. The fists and palms collided, and Su Ming suddenly took action, naturally gaining the upper hand. However, he took 5 steps back before he could stabilize his figure. His face flushed. Xiao Fan, on the other hand, remained motionless and his expression did not change at all. Many people saw this scene, and everyone was surprised. Su Ming is a genius of the Su family, and his strength is among the best among the younger generation, as famous as Long Xiaotian. But he didn't expect that the young man in white robe opposite him would actually gain the upper hand in the fight. He is Xiao Fan, the Long family's son-in-law. Xiao Fan. Someone at the scene recognized Xiao Fan's identity and exclaimed. After hearing this person's words, everyone else suddenly recognized Xiao Fan's identity. In the past, Xiao Fan might have been despised in the eyes of everyone, but now, after his battle with Long Xiaotian, he has completely become famous. Are you Xiao Fan? The loser who entered Zanlong's family. Su Ming was also surprised. He didn't expect that the person facing him was Xiao Fan. The Su family is not a force in Jingchuan City. Although there are contacts between the two cities, the channels for news are not so timely. Therefore, they do not know about the competition between Xiao Fan and Long Xiaotian. They have only heard that Xiao Fan has the extremely talented younger brother Xiaotian joined the Piaomiao Immortal Palace, and then beat his eldest brother half to death and sent him to the Long family to be a son-in-law in exchange for resources. Because of this incident, the Long family lost an adult, so they attracted their attention. Whoever is so presumptuous is not allowed to do anything in the treasure pavilion, don't you know? At this time, the experts from Jinbao Pavilion arrived, a middle-aged man, followed by more than a dozen monks. The aura exuded from the middle-aged man was amazing, which shocked Xiao Fan. He had only seen Long Anhai, whose cultivation was at the great perfection of Qi transformation realm, unleash his momentum, and the middle-aged man in front of him was only slightly worse than Long Anhai, at least the 7th level of Qi transformation realm or above. Su Ming was also surprised when he felt the cultivation level of the visitor. The old guard he brought this time had the highest cultivation level, but he was only at the 5th level of Qi transformation realm. In the past, the family had only repeatedly warned them not to provoke Jinbao Pavilion, but no one had ever actually seen Jinbao Pavilion take action, so they did not know the strength of Jinbao Pavilion. The middle-aged man glanced around, and the scene suddenly became quiet. His eyes paused on Xiao Fan and Su Ming for a moment, then looked at the shopkeeper and asked, "What's going on?" This young master bought the blood spirit ginseng, and this one wanted to force it to be purchased, and then the two sides clashed. The shopkeeper briefly told what happened. Xiao Fan was fine, but Su Ming's face was ashen. What is the concept of a strong person after the 7th level of the Qi transformation realm? The ancestor of the Su family is only at the Tongtian realm, and the head of the Su family is only at the great perfection of the Qi transformation realm. I never expected that there would be such a powerful person in the treasure pavilion. Bye. So, it's you two who are causing trouble? The middle-aged man looked at Xiao Fan and Su Ming with a stern expression. Xiao Fan frowned and said nothing. Su Ming, who was on the opposite side, hurriedly explained, "Sir, what happened just now was just an accident. The other party insulted me first, so I acted on impulse and had no intention of offending Jinbao Pavilion. There are no exceptions in the treasure pavilion. If there is a conflict in the treasure pavilion, everyone involved will have one arm cut off as punishment." The middle-aged man spoke coldly, his tone cold. "Sir, I am from the Su family in Moyun City, and my grandfather is Su Hongyun. Please, for the sake of my grandfather, give me a chance." Hearing this, the middle-aged man frowned. He naturally knew the Su family and didn't want to offend him for such a trivial matter. He thought about it and then said, "In this case, then you pay 200 spiritual stones as a fine and let this matter be forgotten." "Yes, but it won't happen again." "Thank you, sir, thank you, sir." Su Ming breathed a sigh of relief and quickly thanked him. 200 spirit stones were nothing to him. Then he looked at Xiao Fan with a gloating expression, wanting to see what this man would do. "It's your turn. Do you want to cut off your arm, or do you want me to do it?" The middle-aged man said coldly, looking at Xiao Fan. This, Man Pangda, the person opposite was the one who caused trouble first. It has nothing to do with this little brother. The shopkeeper couldn't stand it anymore and opened his mouth to explain to Xiao Fan. "Shut up, how can I judge when it's your turn to speak?" The middle-aged man said coldly. Everyone at the scene knew that Xiao Fan was in trouble.